This is the Vision Miner 22 IDEX, a high-performance, high-temperature extrusion 3D printer, and it's got some features that set it apart from every other machine on the market. For years now, we've been printing parts every single day in the shop, and after partnering with a European manufacturer, we've taken all of the features that we wanted, everything we learned from printing day in, day out for companies like NASA, Northrop Grumman, medical, oil and gas companies, and countless others. All that experience has been put into this machine as a starting point for the future of our extrusion 3D printers. This machine is not only capable of printing high-temp materials like PEEK and ULTEM, but it's a fully open material system. You're not locked down to any brands or processes, so if you want to do large carbon fiber nylon parts, or huge ABS parts, or polycarbonate, or high-temp materials like PEEK and polysulfone, you can totally do that. And on top of all that, the machine itself is using open hardware, from the Duet 2 board to the RepRap firmware. We wanted to make this as extensible as possible for the power users. So let me give you the basic specs and then we'll get into the juicy details. We've got 500 Celsius nozzles on independent dual extruders, a 200 Celsius bed, a 90 Celsius actively heated chamber, triple Z-axis motors for true bed leveling. It's manufactured in Europe and there's a ton of other cool things, so let's get right into the details. For the hot end and extruder, it is the 22 IDEX, and as the name implies, it uses two independent extruders. Both nozzles quickly get up to 500 Celsius, so you can print two parts at once in any material you want. It's a fully open material system, as we said, so you can basically put almost any 1.75 millimeter filament from PLA to PEEK to ULTEM to CF nylon, you name it. So a little more on dual independent extruders. The cheaper way to do dual extrusion is having the nozzles on one head right next to each other, which is basically 90% of the dual extruders on the market. Now, this can be good because it's cheaper, it's more accessible, even though often you still need lifting nozzles for a decent setup, but it works despite some drawbacks, like oozing support material all over your part while it's printing on the other nozzle. With independent extruders, that's never an issue. IDEX really comes with a lot of advantages. Firstly, you've got the options for duplicate mode and mirror mode. You're almost buying two machines for the price of one. If you're printing a bunch of smaller parts on both hot ends at the same time, I mean, that's huge for production or even mass production, because it literally doubles your throughput instantly. You can either print two of the same part, or you can mirror one part and get opposite parts produced at the exact same time. You've also got multi-material mode, which can be used for different colors, different nozzle sizes, different materials, like if you want to do HTN CF25 and an outer shell of regular nylon, so you get the rigid core with a slick outer shell, or maybe you want to make embedded hinges using TPU and ASA, or polypropylene and PLA. There's literally unlimited possibilities. You can also use them for support materials, whether breakaway or soluble supports, which allows for printing of previously impossible geometries, like a suspended object inside of a sphere that's not connected to anything. As for the hot ends themselves, we're currently using volcano-style hot ends with copper heat blocks and titanium heat breaks, because they're industry-proven designs and they allow for easy maintenance and extremely wide parts availability. The extruder itself is direct drive, meaning the drive gear is close to the hot end, and it's using a dual gear design for extra grip strength. So if you got slippery materials or flexibles, you're good to go. Next, we've got the bed and the chamber. The bed itself can reach 200 Celsius on 110 volt in about 10 minutes. And if you're using that temperature, the chances are you're using the heated chamber too, waiting for all the metal to reach equilibrium, which takes about 20-30 minutes for the first preheat of the day. Now, let's talk about the really cool part, the triple Z motor system for true bed leveling. And yes, it's got mesh leveling too. But instead of having manual bed leveling screws, we got rid of that. We made it obsolete because the actual Z-axis motors do all of the work for you. If you've ever printed in high temperatures, you know how annoying it can be to reach in and grab some super hot knobs to level your bed. We've always joked about if you don't have any burns, you don't print high temp. Well, that's probably not going to apply anymore. Now the mesh leveling itself on top of that ships with the standard 16 points, but you can easily change the spacing right there on the machine interface. You can do 144 points or virtually as many points as you want. Now this system is also future-proofing for features like non-planar printing. Software is still being developed for all that, but when it's available, the capabilities of this machine will be even greater. Now as a note, this does take G-code, so if you wanted to use Mastercam, it's possible. And yes, for the power users out there, we integrated Z-offset baby stepping right into the main interface so you can always get that perfect first layer. Now, onto the chamber, which is actively heated up to 90 Celsius. And this is totally critical for printing high temperature materials and especially useful for larger parts and standard materials like ABS, nylon, or polycarbonate. Now, you may notice we're not actually using insulation yet. The thickness of the steel and even this glass front door holds 90 Celsius with ease. And as time goes on, we've already got upgrades in the works for insulation and higher chamber temperatures. On that note, we do plan to offer all upgrades for this machine as they're released, so you won't be left in the dust when new features come out, and you'll be able to upgrade the machine yourself. Now, one thing that's plagued high temperature polymers for the last few years is filament absorbing moisture. They all do it and it's no fun. You start a 27-hour print in ULTEM and then it degrades after 12 hours due to moisture absorption. It's no good. In the 22 IDEX though, your filament goes inside the heated chamber, which stays dry due to the heating system, so you can do longer prints than ever before. This also applies to nylon, polycarb, even PETG, or soluble materials like PVA, Aquasys, or Aquatech. Now, let's talk about the motion system and the electronics. The full gantry system is running on quality high-wind linear rails, essential for high-speed, high-accuracy motion. On top of that, we're using 12mm ultra-wide gates belts made from Kevlar for more reliability, durability, less calibration, and more speed. The XY axis is powered by a quad motor system. 4 motors power the entire gantry, and the design allows for much shorter belts than in a core XY machine. They're all mounted outside of the heated build chamber in the back here too, so you don't have to worry about the heat wearing them down over time. Now, all this together enables a current max print speed of 500 millimeters a second with a standard stock speed of 300 millimeters per second. And yes, I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. The stock settings that we ship for basic materials in this machine come at 300 millimeters per second, and it's reliable. We've printed up to 500 millimeters per second, but in general, 300 millimeters a second is our baseline. Of course, with different materials, high temps, low temps, you'll be printing at a variety of speeds, as usual. So just know that that's the tested, reliable speed of movement, not necessarily what you want to be printing at, depending on the material. Now, another cool feature about the way the XY is designed is it's self-squaring. Self-squaring, self-leveling, this frickin' thing just keeps getting better and better. Theoretically, it's accurate down to 10 microns on the X and the Y and 7 microns on the Z, but remember, it's a round nozzle and you're generally not going to print any lower layer heights than 0.05 millimeters or 50 microns, even though you absolutely could and can. It's just generally not practical or even necessary for filament printing. Just based on the difficulties and limits of extruding plastic through a tiny little nozzle, even with stock settings, parts are almost always within 0.005 of an inch tolerance, regardless. Okay, next, let's get into the electronics. This machine is using the Duet 2 Wi-Fi, or the Ethernet version for our DoD customers. Now, as far as controlling the printer, the base version comes with full Duet web control, so you can use it on anything with a web browser. A PC, a Mac, Linux machine, smartphone, tablet, or pretty much anything else. It's even got the ability to use voice commands, but more on that later. Make sure you're subscribed to see that video come out. In fact, if you hadn't noticed already, there's no tiny little screen on this printer, because you really don't need one. Chances are you've already got a web-enabled smartphone in your pocket and you're watching this video on a web-connected computer. So right there, you've already got 2 options. Now imagine opening a new tab right now, controlling the printer while you watch this video. It may seem crazy, but in reality, most screens on printers are small, hard to use, super limited in space, and there's about 87 windows for all the different functions. On this system, you get everything in one place and more options than ever before. Plus, if a screen fails, the printer is rendered temporarily useless. So we basically just made it obsolete. As far as power requirements go, the machine ships with standard 110 volt. So you can plug it in just about anywhere, and we do recommend a 20 amp breaker. The power supplies are high quality Meanwell brand, and all the wiring is manufactured in Germany. It's also using high quality SSRs, terminals, and other safety features found on most high temp industrial printers these days. Now, when you back all of this with American support right here in the USA from Vision Miner and our technical partners at a price like this, well, you're ready to get into production like never before. Finally, you can get a quality built machine with all high-end components at a price point that absolutely destroys everything else on the market. If you want to get one in your shop today, just reach out to us directly or head over to the website and make sure you're subscribed here so you'll see when all the new videos that we're putting out, demystifying and detailing the capabilities and the functionality of this machine. And while you're here, let me know in the comments below. What would you print first with this machine in your shop? What would you do with the dual nozzles? Any crazy material experiments you're wanting to try out? Frankly, I'm really excited to do a lot more stuff with center cores and outer shells in different materials to get like slick properties with rigid core. I'm super stoked to be putting out more content on that. All in all, the feedback from all you guys has been incredible. Thank you so much for the support, the comments, the emails, the calls, the feedback. We really, truly appreciate it. And we're super stoked to be bringing you guys a machine like this. Now, you can get your own machine today at visionminer.com/22IDEX or shoot us an email, even give us a call. We're here to help you, answer your questions, and get you up and running as quickly as possible. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a positive rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next video.